I know.
Don't say
He
it.
wants to be the new Conor McGregor,
And
and
he's nothing. He's not a pimple on the ass of Conor McGregor.
all right, welcome to another episode of Two Fight Fans, where we talk about all things in combat sports. I'm one fight fan, Colin.
And I'm the other Stuart.
All right, and today's Stu is episode 50. Can you believe we've done 50 episodes of this
Holy
shit?
shit. This is 50?
This is 50.
Oh no, I was gonna get you like strippers and stuff. I was gonna make a big deal out of this.
Come
Ah, I
on.
dropped the ball. It was gonna be me in a cake in a G-string.
Oh, that would have been magical.
Yeah, I
It
fucked it
would
up.
have only been better if you wore one of those special UFC Noche ring girl outfits. In particular,
Ooh.
the space one.
The space one to take you to the moon. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, congrats to us. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
We've had 50 conversations, which it feels like there's not 50 things to talk about in MMA.
In the
Right?
world of MMA, yeah.
Yeah, there's not 50 things to say.
Okay, well, a lot of those have been like, man, middleweight sucks. Man, heavyweight sucks. Man, Alex Pereira is awesome. But is he? Yes, he's awesome. Well, he is. That's pretty much been the summary. Oh, and boxing is awesome. That's pretty much the summary of episodes 1 through 50, I feel like.
Yeah, that's about right. Like, we picked a really bad time to start recording our conversations about combat sports.
Well, there's been some really good things in these last few months.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm thinking of like, I don't know, other years that could, but whatever. You live in the time you live in. There's nothing else we can do about it.
That's true.
But yeah, 50 episodes. All right, man. How are you
Yeah.
feeling about this? Good, bad?
Good. Yeah. I've taken anything away from these 50 episodes, it's I should be watching boxing more.
Yes. And that leads us perfectly, unless we want to keep faffing about 50.
No.
Leads us into heavyweight boxing, which we've been quietly in a heavyweight golden age of boxing, and we're about to, I think, come to the end of it.
Yeah.
Pretty soon. As this weekend, Anthony Joshua, probably the biggest name in heavyweight boxing of the past 10 years.
God, that long?
I think so. When did he win the Olympic gold medal?
Oh, jeez.
Look it up. Anyway, but
I will.
that kind of has marked the change for especially British boxing into like bringing much more mainstream appeal. 2012. Yeah. So about
2012,
10
yeah.
years. Yeah. And then the resurgence of Tyson Fury, his dip, him coming back, the trilogy with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury as Anthony Joshua, like, kept being kind of this golden child in the boxing world, and then quietly having Usyk come up out of nowhere, just a fuck ugly Ukrainian guy who decides
Oh,
to
man.
take it. I mean, he's not great looking. He seems like a cool human being, a cool dude, and one of the greatest boxers that has ever lived. But look, you can't have a character statted tens across the board, right? Like, one of those things is gonna have to take a dip. And, sometimes it's your appearance. Anyway, but all this is to say, heavyweight boxing has been amazing for the past, especially the last 5 years. Really great stuff. But this past weekend, Daniel Dubois, I mean, absolutely flatlined Anthony Joshua. Did you see this fight at all?
I saw the last round where Anthony Joshua had his puppet strings cut from him, and he fell to the ground like Yamcha did in Dragon Ball Z, as he always gets beaten by the bad guy.
Wow, that's a deep pull, a Yamcha pull. That's
And
Right
honestly,
on.
I saw a meme from it, like, literally right before we started recording, and I just bursted into laughing on my couch, seeing
Yep.
that. That shit was so funny to me.
There you go. Well, you missed then all of the amazing drama that this fight had. It was only 5 rounds. Anthony Joshua was dropped in the first, dropped in the third, I believe, and then dropped twice in the fifth.
Wow.
At some point in the fifth round, and then when he wobbled him, that's what led to the final knockdown, where he's just like, "Oh, now I'll just exchange with you, shot for shot." But he'd already been knocked down 3 times in the fight up until that point, and got
Jeez.
flatlined. Yeah, it was a story of, it seemed like Anthony Joshua came in a little overconfident, a little like, I'm supposed to beat this guy. Really lazy with his lead hand. So as Dubois would push into him, he would kind of throw a jab, but then leave his hand out there to kind of post or like
Mhm.
push away. And after doing that twice, Dubois is like, "Hey, I can throw an overhand just completely over your lead and catch you." And that's how the first knockdown happened.
Oof.
Um, there's a gif of Conor McGregor losing his absolute mind
I did
on the
see
first
that.
knockdown.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's got to be on, I hope, the best, highest quality, purest substances that his money can buy. But yeah. So, I mean, Turki Al-Sheikh was there. Turki Al-Sheikh, the whole thing Saudi Arabia boxing has wanted is to line up that Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight. And every time that it happens, Anthony Joshua just can't quite get there. Couldn't beat Usyk, and then here couldn't beat Daniel Dubois.
Well,
Yeah,
even you said in our last episode, you're like, "Oh no, Daniel Dubois, he's gonna lose. You can't be doing that." And like, I
yeah,
think you called that he was gonna be knocked out.
yeah. I definitely, and it looked like the betting line was agreeing with me that, but it was this instance of like, it did seem that Anthony Joshua also heard our podcast and went, "Oh yeah, Stewart says this is going to be really easy, so it will be really easy. I'm going to come out and not take this seriously at all."
And I think Fury was in the crowd, and there's a video of him like calling over to Connor saying, "Man, this shit just cost me 150 million. I'm not gonna fight him now." Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest. I mean, we have to give credit. Anthony Joshua, this is the second or third time he sold out Wembley Stadium, a stadium
Jesus.
of 98,000 people,
Whoa, wait,
right?
it's that big?
Yeah, it's fucking huge. Um, it's massive. And so he is like a huge star in England. And having Tyson Fury, also an Englishman, come in and fight, that would have been bonkers. I still think Usyk is going to beat Fury again. So then have Dubois and Usyk have a rematch, and then let Fury and Joshua fight. Um, yeah, it's
Jesus. Yeah, 98,128 people.
yeah,
What the hell? There were 12,000 more people at this fight than there were for an NFL game that was held 2 years ago.
yeah. Like it's no, Anthony Joshua is big business in the UK. So anytime, and here's the thing, Dana White, I'm gonna make this an anti-Dana White thing, always says like, we can't take a UFC fight to a stadium because it's not like, people won't want to watch combat sports in a stadium that big. Boxing does it routinely, and it
Yeah.
adds so much pageantry and so much, like, for using a shitty term that the former president used, like bigness and bigliness to an event, right? Like, it adds so much grandeur. Um,
There
yeah,
were more people at this fight than there were at an Adele concert at Wembley. What the fuck? Jesus.
Anthony Joshua, man, he's a big star there.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, it was. I mean, it kind of reminded me of the in a way fight, right? Where there's like high drama right off the bat. Someone gets dropped. How are they going to come back? And Anthony Joshua, up until the fifth round, seemed routinely like, "Oh, I'm going to come back." He went to his corner, was kind of dismissive, was like, "I just got caught, whatever, whatever." Right? It did seem like he thought, in the way that I thought very arrogantly, "Oh, he's got this, no problem at all." And he just didn't seem to take Dubois seriously. And Dubois came there to take his lunch money, and he did pretty easily. Um,
Nice.
Which makes it, it makes it like now we could have him versus Big Bang Zhang. We could have him against Usyk or Fury. And Joshua could fight whoever. I mean, why not have him fight Wilder at this point? Wilder's pretty washed, but there's still money to be made, and they're intriguing fights. He's also getting older, right? He's 36, and I
Oh, wow.
know people at heavyweight age kind of slower, but I think all of these heavyweight stars, the Wilders, Wilder is completely shot now, like he's done. But Wilder,
Yeah,
Fury,
oof.
Joshua, Usyk, I think they're all kind of on the decline. We talked about that a little bit with the Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk fight, which is like they are not meeting each other at their peaks, just the beginning of their decline. But I think these guys are going to kind of age out of heavyweight pretty quickly because they keep getting dropped routinely in their fights. At this point. So no, but it's a good fight to go back and watch in its entirety. It's heavyweight boxing.
Okay.
There's good action. The walkouts are awesome. And it's 90. Listen to 98,000 drunken English people shouting. It's fun. It's cool. And then one tiny Irish guy coked out of his goddamn mind, allegedly, in the crowd.
Supposedly. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. I'm not saying anything. I'm not even saying which Irish person. Just one of them that were there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, boxing's been great, and we still have 2.5 interesting fights coming up this year. We've got one in October with Better BF and Bivol, which I said was the best boxing match or like pairing you could make this year. We've got Usyk Fury 2, like Usyk Fury 1, my fight of the year so far. So 2 great fights. And then, bro, you like Mike Tyson. I like Mike Tyson. He's fighting. So like boxing's doing okay. Boxing's doing pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Even this small event, I guess small, 98,000 people, but like small, I guess, for an American audience. I thought it was a more entertaining single fight than the entirety of the Sphere card. So that's that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still I can't get over how many people were at that fight. Like,
dude, I don't even think that's the biggest crowd for a boxing match like this year. I think Inoue's pulled more.
No, I don't think Tokyo Dome had more, did it?
Biggest crowd boxing match. Listen as I Google search this. No, my fucking thing shit its pants. You're gonna have to deal with that.
Okay.
I can't do it. Let me tee up the next subject. All right. You've written here something that I don't even know if I want to talk about. Sean O'Malley claims he should have won the fight because he believes he won rounds 1, 3, and 5. I assume you're talking about a video that's been circulating. Is that correct?
A few videos that have been circulating, yes. And all of his like tweets and everything.
Well, preface this for me a little bit more before I toss it back to you.
Okay, so initially, after the fights, Sean O'Malley was doing the thing where he was like, okay, you know what? I lost the fight. I didn't, I overpromised and underdelivered. Sorry. Then he was saying things like, I'm going to take some time off. I was injured and I got to get surgery. So I'm going to be out like 8 to 12 months, but I'll be back. He had this whole video of him walking through his garage to put his belt in some weird ass suitcase in this fucking cage that he has there too. And then like a day later, like starts posting stuff about like, hey, I just rewatched the fight. I actually won that. I'm still undefeated, blah, blah, blah. I'll be defending this belt again in summer or whatever, some bullshit, and I don't know. Because both of us, we watched it together and both of us were like adamant that there was no way he won round 3. And I'm pretty certain he didn't win round 1 either. So
absolutely not.
Yeah. So, and again, this was just me like, okay, it's been a week and a half. Not even. Like, have I cooled off enough to like see this, more analytically or whatnot. And I don't know. Did you rewatch the fight at all?
I haven't rewatched the fight. I rewatched round 1 and 3 because of this.
Okay.
So here, well, I think the two takeaways are like maybe you could have given round 3 to Sean O'Malley. Maybe.
Okay. Maybe.
Round 1, I don't see any way you could give it to him. But still, then you only have rounds 3 and 5. Um, I've seen this video circulating where he's talking. I want people to pay attention to like what Tim Welch and Sean O'Malley are saying. Ooh, man, if he had gotten hit clean by that, it would have slept him. Ooh, man, if that had just connected, I would have had him like dead to rights. Oh, man, he's holding on here because he knows if I break away and hit him, he's going to be in trouble. A lot of this, oh, man, if only I actually took an action, that would win me the fight. Not a lot of, oh, the actions I am taking now are winning the fight. There's a lot of this weird misconception of like, oh man, if only I landed that spinning backflip kick, I would have. It's like, but you didn't. That's how life works. You didn't actually. Oh man, if only I'd gotten that job, I would have made all. It's like, but you didn't.
Yep.
So shut the fuck up about it. Shut up about it. You didn't. Stop saying if I did, because you didn't. Oh my, dude, it drove me nuts hearing this shit. I was like, that's not, judges don't score a fight by looking at it and go like, fuck, man, you did throw that punch, but you were 9 feet away. But you know what? I'm going to give you a point for it, because if you were 9 feet closer, man, that would have really hit him. That's not how the world works. Like, what are you talking about? No, this is absolute. Here it is. Our donkey brain of the month is Sean O'Malley for this absolute nonsense argument. Oh my god, it did my head in seeing that video, and yeah, no, that's not how the world works. That's not how fights are scored. That's not how anything. That's not how anything works.
So let me ask you then, all this flapping of that he's doing here, do you think this is like do you think this is just him trying to drum up his like stock and things, or do you think he's actually delusional in this and that he's like this young, talented fighter who like can't seem to accept what the reality is around that he was just bested, that he's maybe not as good as he thought he was, that he's not undefeatable,
Yeah,
unbeatable.
yeah. I don't know. I did like it's hard to know because it was a pretty slow week in MMA. So like you got to drum up some sort of noise or controversy to get YouTube views, right? Because he makes money off of his YouTube channel. Maybe it's partly that. Fighters, MMA fighters especially, but like boxers, any combat sport athlete, any athlete really, has to be. You have to have some level of delusion,
Right.
and I think MMA fighters even more so than others, right? Because it would be a very painful truth to like sit with and accept that like, yeah, this guy actually just like took you to school. That's going to challenge his whole idea of himself and like whatever. I'm not here to get inside the mind of a Sean O'Malley, but like yeah, I think so. I don't know. My assumption is like to give it a very charitable read. Maybe it's 50% delusion, 50% just like fishing for clicks. But I don't know. What do you think? Like, it's hard to know because this is obviously like an edited video on YouTube. So like there is the element of like, I want this to be seen for some reason.
Yeah, it definitely feels more like that, and Sean O'Malley has created a persona online that has gotten him a lot of popularity and therefore, money. So,
Mhm.
like, basically to come out humble and to be like, yeah, didn't go my way this time. Really sorry, everyone. I wish I could. I'm gonna put in some time to the work into the gym. And I'll come back stronger. That's not really him. That's not what really has gotten him to be popular with so many people. He's been known to be like, arrogant, brash, and like kind of like the new
Don't say
like
it.
I know. He
Don't say it.
wants to be the new Conor McGregor,
And
and
he's nothing. He's not a pimple on the ass of Conor McGregor. Like when Conor McGregor was like at peak Conor, the charisma, the way he like fought and backed it up, like Conor never didn't lose that Nate Diaz fight and then say I didn't lose. He went, I need to train, I need to do these things, and then came back and he won. Right? Sean O'Malley lost to Cheeto Vera in their first fight and said it's only because Cheeto would have never won if it wasn't because of that one freak thing where my leg went dead after Cheeto Vera like chopped him down with leg kicks. Like he was like, well, if only he hadn't leg kicked me, then I would have won. It's this whole thing of like, if the reality that we live in wasn't that reality, I would have won. It's like, but that's not how that's not how reality works, Sean. Yeah, no.
Hey, but do you remember when Conor also lost to Dustin?
Yeah, well, okay, yeah. I'm saying Pete Connor. Current Connor, sad washed Connor. Sean O'Malley is reminiscent of that. I will give you that.
Okay,
But
okay.
not peak of his powers, like rocking the world, Conor McGregor.
Mhm. Okay.
Go back. Maybe if you have time, or maybe we'll do this exercise later. Go back and watch rounds 1, 3, and 5, and tell me which ones you could score for Sean. Because
Okay.
there's no way in hell you could give round 1, maybe round 3, but I would still give it to Sean. Round 5 he won, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
anyway.
You've given 1 and 3 to Marab, you mean?
Yeah, 1 and 3
Yeah, okay.
Marab.
Yeah.
But I could see round 3 for Sean if you kind of squinted. But yeah, it was yeah, fuck. It was no. And you can't fights are not scored of, oh man, if that had landed. He says that like 3 or 4 times in that video. Oh man, if that had landed clean. It didn't. Oh dude, if I had wheels, I'd be a bicycle. Like that's not how this works. God. Anyway, all right, let's move on because my blood pressure is skyrocketing.
Yes. Yeah, I can feel it from over here.
Oh, dude, that strain of thinking, and then people are like, "Don't you get it? Don't you see what I'm saying?" And I'm like, "No, no, that's not. It doesn't make any sense." Anyway, okay. Some fight announcements
Yeah.
or fight cancellations.
Yeah.
Gon versus Volkov
Yep.
being moved to
From Madison, or excuse me, from where? They're in
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi to Madison Square Garden. The
Yes.
same card with heavyweight title championship fight, John Jones and Stipe.
Yes. So the question is, why do they need Aspinall as a backup? Or better yet, is this so if Stipe or Jones pulls out, they can give
One of
Gon
these
or
guys.
Volkov? Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's exactly what I thought was happening, and I think it is bullshit.
Yeah, it is. Dude, it's gonna be so nice when this Madison Square Garden card is over, when we don't have to talk about Stipe and Jones anymore. It's just like what a stagnant fart that's been hanging around this room for a long time. You know, like it's just like let's just air it out. Let's just get it out of here. I don't need this anymore. Yeah, it's the interesting thing is like Jailton Almeida has thrown his hat into the ring to try to keep Gon on that card, to step in and fight Volkov, or to step in for Volkov and fight Gon. So we'll see if that happens, but I doubt it. Yeah, it's that card, the Abu Dhabi card, has had quite a few changes to the lineup in the past few days.
Yeah, did you hear that Aljamain Sterling and Evloev are off of that card as well?
That's the Salt Lake City one, but yeah, that's another
Oh, my
that
bad.
had happened. Yeah. And that sounds like Evloev is not going to get a replacement. So
Yeah.
Still a pretty good card. I think both 308 and 309 are. Is it 308, 309, or 307 and 308?
307 is the Pereira Roundtree.
Oh yeah, 307, 308. Still really good cards, and
Yeah.
both in October. October is going to be a banger month,
Oh
hopefully.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah, it's then we hit November, and dude, fuck me, November is going to be a that's dark times of the soul in November, right there. Yeah, but let's talk about before because on Thursday we'll preview everything that we have to look forward to in October, which
Yep.
is maybe the 3 best fights you can make in MMA currently, plus the best boxing match you can make,
Hmm.
plus Ngannou coming back to
Yeah.
MMA. So October is, dude, it's spooky season because it's scary how good these fights are.
Oh.
Anyway, but before then, we have to talk about the last fight card of September, which is UFC Paris, which is coming up this weekend. Colin,
Yeah.
can you name 3 good fights on this card?
3 good fights or 3 fighters?
3 good fights.
Uh,
You can do it. There are 2 layups. I'm
well,
interested more in
okay.
the third.
Yeah, I well, you've got random spouting nonsense Hanato Moicano headlining
Yeah,
against Benoit Saint Denis, so
that's not bad. I
that's
like
okay.
that.
Yeah,
It's at
okay.
lightweight.
It is at lightweight. You've got your favorite weight class, middleweight, with Imavov and Brendan Allen,
The
I
most
guess.
middleweight fight that we've seen since the last most middleweight fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I am now looking at all of these names. I don't know a single one of them.
Oh, that can't be true.
Who would I know?
Ludovic Klein from
Mm,
Slovakia.
I do not know Ludovic Klein.
Ion Kutalaba.
Nope.
Oh, the guy at light heavyweight who I think had a trilogy with Magomed Ankalaev because he
Oh
routinely
Jesus.
claimed that he was faking being hurt when he would get punched
Oh.
really hard in the head and pretend to be wobbled to play possum, um, and then complain when the fight would get stopped. So that guy's cool, right? Like
Wow.
we like Ewan. He's an absolute madman. What about Matt the Steamroller Frivola?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, Matt Frivola. His nickname is the Steamroller with an A at the end.
That's all right. I'm immediately intrigued now.
He knocked out Drew Dober in 1 round. He knocked out Azatar in 1 round, and then he in 1 round got knocked out by Benoit Saint Denis in his last fight.
Ah.
He's like an exciting, really heavy-handed puncher in the lightweight division who doesn't have really great footwork or ground game, but he hits really fucking hard and loves to get into firefights. So, hey, I'll take that,
That's
right?
entertaining. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Brian Battle in the welterweight division is pretty good. He's fighting Kevin Josette from France. I don't know much about him, but that should be an easy layup for Brian Battle. So we have some. I thought there were better fights on this card, so I take back my initial scoffing at your thing. Okay, so there are two decent fights, like 2 interesting fighters to watch.
Okay.
Beyond that, so yeah. Tell me your initial thoughts, your likes, your dislikes, your initial take, your pick for Hanato Moicano and Benoit Saint Denis.
Man, I both these guys, like, okay, let's talk first Hanato Moicano. That first fight, his most recent fight, like against fucking Jalen Turner, like again, should have fucking lost. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much this actually tells me about him because it's like for all intents and purposes, he should have lost that fight really badly. And then Jalen Turner just dove in to lose to him. So like, did Hanato Moicano win or did Jalen Turner lose? You know?
Well, I think
Like
Hanato Moicano did lose. He's the only fighter I've seen lose a fight and yet still win a fight, right? Like he's the only fighter I've seen been knocked out in a fight and then still come back to win, which is pretty
that's
impressive.
pretty impressive. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you gotta give him that. But like look at the run he's on. So even though he did win to Jalen Turner, he did beat Drew Dober. He did beat Brad Riddell.
Mhm.
He did have a loss to Rafael dos Anjos, but he beat Alex Hernandez and Jai Herbert. A loss to Rafael Fiziev. He beat Demir Hadzovic. But like he fought Chanson Jung and Jose Aldo and was jabbing them up for a good amount of
Mhm.
those fights. Like he routinely still kind of impresses, and I think one of the things to note is even if you do finish him, unless you really finish him, he's still very dangerous, and he can
Yeah.
come back and beat you. He has a really great top game, a pretty good jab, and has some of the most insane financial theories about how the world works that I've ever seen. So that's cool, I guess, maybe. Um,
Dude, he's been fighting the UFC since 2014. Jesus.
Yeah, man. I think it was off of beating him that Brian Ortega got the title shot against Max Holloway. Or
Oh,
maybe it
okay,
wasn't that.
okay.
Maybe it was the Frankie Edgar. Let me look. Uh oh no, he beat Hanato Moicano, then Cub Swanson, then Frankie Edgar. Never mind. But that was one
Okay.
of those fights where it was like in the last 2 minutes, Brian Ortega got a guillotine choke against Hanato Moicano, but Hanato Moicano had been piecing him up for
Mhm.
like 2.5 rounds. So yeah, Hanato Moicano is always kind of like an interesting fringe contender. Like even though he doesn't blow us away with any one particular thing, he is good enough to beat a vast majority of people in the lightweight division. So yeah,
Alright.
what about Benoit Saint Denis though?
Um, yeah, I mean, he just seems what he like.
How dare you?
What, are you a secret Benoit Saint Denis fan?
I kind of like Benoit Saint Denis. I'm kind of
Okay,
into him.
what is it about him that you like? Because for me, he seems to be like he's a good gatekeeper person to me, in that he's durable and he comes forward and does the same thing, but he doesn't have a definitively deep toolbox. It feels like.
Yeah, well, what do I like about Benoit Saint Denis? He was in the French SWAT team for special forces. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not pro police state, but that's a kind of a cool job if you're uh have a rotten brain like mine. He was I think he's a BJJ brown belt and a black belt in judo, and France has a very good judo culture. So
Yeah.
he's a legit black belt judoka and has only been doing MMA I think since 2020 or 2019.
Oh. Yeah. It looks.
2019. Yeah, so he's only been here for a few years.
Well, I mean,
Um,
he's been fucking fighting terrorists for most of his adult life. Like.
yeah. And then he's only been at lightweight since 2022 and he got since moving to lightweight a submission, a TKO, a submission, a TKO and a KO. One of which is against Matt the Steamroller Frivola, which is pretty cool. And he fucking with a staph infection on antibiotics, took it to Dustin Poirier for a round.
Mhm.
Um, he's got he's a southpaw with a wicked liver kick and a pretty decent left straight down the pipe,
Mhm.
and really good grappling. And I don't know, Hanato Moicano has got good grappling and is a southpaw and doesn't deal well with kicks to the body, but loves throwing crazy jab then looping hook. And so I'm like, all right, this is an interesting style matchup. It's yeah, and also we have reserve Frenchman who did judo, which is all about tradition and being polite and fought terrorists, and then we've got Hanato Moicano, a guy out here believing that he's done more research on economic policy than any actual economist in the world, and telling you to invest in crypto because banks are secretly evil and run by lizard people. So I'm like, that's a cool fight. That's objectively a cool fight. That's a cool thing to see happen. It's very rare you get to see personalities like that just come together and be like, yeah, now we're gonna get in a fist fight. Oh my gosh, that's cool. That's cool. Um, I think it's pretty good.
All right. All right.
And is it gonna be silly and pretty sloppy? Sure, but it does seem to hold the promise of hyper violence in it.
Potential hyperviolence, yes.
Yeah, and, like, I assume what it'll be is, like, really sloppy on the feet, and then somebody will get hurt, and then that person will follow them to the ground, and then, like, it'll look like 2 lizards fucking. Like, it'll
Yeah.
just be the most insane scrambles you've ever seen, because they both have very distinct, unique grappling styles, which I think will be interesting to see kind of, like, pinging off each other.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
fair.
yeah. So that's a good fight, man. Come
Alright,
on.
alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Uh
started talking mostly about, like, their non-fighting attributes, so, you were more enraptured by their backstory, so I was like, "Alright, whatever."
Yeah, I mean, like it's, but I actually think like it'll be an interesting, and then whoever wins or loses, the post fight speech is gonna be bananas. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a good spectacle. Like it's a good spectacle. Like I could, I can't see Renato Moicano challenging for the title, but Benoit Saint Denis. I mean, he gassed so hard against Dustin Poirier, but like if he can kind of tighten up how wild he is, and not, like burn out all of his energy, like I could see him challenging for a title in a few years, especially because he's only been fighting at lightweight for 2 years
Yeah.
professionally. So like, and he's only been fighting what 4 or 5 years professionally. So yeah, like he's just getting started. And then tell me what you know about Nasruddin Imavov and Brendan Allen.
You sound so deflated with that.
Dude, it's just middleweight again.
Yep.
It's just middleweight again. Are
Well,
these guys going to be able to beat Dricus Du Plessis?
no.
I mean, maybe. Right? Won't that fuck our heads royally?
If
If like
Nasruddin Imavov challenges for the title and beats DDP, yes.
Here's the
Yes.
thing, though. Imavov and Kai Bahalio might be the 2 people who can beat Dricus Du Plessis because their games are just as janky and rely just as much on being just freak athletes that I'm like, all right, maybe it's not technique versus, the big brute. It's find another big brute who's just as weird and have them fight, and like one will kill the other. Um, yeah. You watched Imavov versus Jared Cannonier, right? I didn't watch that
Yes.
one. How did Imavov look in that fight?
So, not good for the first couple rounds because Jared Cannonier was
Oh.
actually like, and also because Jared Cannonier looked pretty good. And this was also one where I was like, oh man, Jared Cannonier could totally take it. And then as soon as they walked out and they said, and our 5-round match, I was like, oh fuck. Jared Cannonier is like 41. And
He's gonna get sleepy.
yep. And he actually looked really good for like the first 2 rounds. And then the third started to fade and then fell off a cliff on the fourth. And that's where Imov went, oh, all right, like, here we go. And then boom. Yeah. Again, this is another one of those where it's like, it, it, it has the potential again to be kind of, it can be exciting, but I think for the most part, it's going to be not that. It's gonna be either really sloppy and someone will, like, either get submitted or knocked out, but not because it was, like, an exciting, dynamic, skillful affair where someone outskilled the other. It's gonna be like, "Well, why did we do that?" Like
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right. The interesting thing is because right, it's probably gonna be. What do we have at middleweight? God, dude, we talk about this division. So okay, so we've got Sean Strickland probably fighting Dricus Du Plessis again.
Yep.
Why we're doing that, I don't know. Robert Whitaker versus Hamzat Chimaev probably gets next up. So that means probably the winner of Imavov and Allen will fight Kai Bahalio to be third in line, probably.
Mhm.
So it's of some consequence.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
it definitely is, but this is middleweight is a whack-ass division right now because
Dude.
you got DDP and Sean Strickland sitting at top. Izzy, who is like falling down the rankings just because of everything that's happened. Robert Whitaker, who's trying to make his way up, but like, is fighting the demon of this division.
Mm-hmm.
But that demon is
Gets
constantly
pulled.
sick, and
Yeah.
like, so it's like, what can Robert Whitaker do? Like that's not his fault. And then you've got everyone fucking else.
Yeah.
Like it's really just
Alio.
like, yeah, you know, and
You know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
come.
look at these rankings.
I
Like
know it's
Kyle Bahalio. You still got Paul Costa in there. You've got,
it's a
you
stupid
know,
division for stupid people, and yet I watch it endlessly, and I can't stop.
you can't.
It's I have a problem. I have a middleweight problem.
You do. You
Yeah.
really, really
I'm
do.
I'm gonna watch this Imavov Allen fight, and I'm gonna hate it, but I'm gonna watch all 15 minutes of it. And it's gonna be. I hope Imavov
Oh, you
wins.
think it'll go to a decision?
Yeah, probably. Um, yeah, probably. Uh,
And okay, we don't have anything right on this one. Who do you think will win it then?
I think it'll probably. I think it'll probably be Imavov, but that might be because I hate Brendan Allen with a fiery passion. So
Oh,
like,
why?
oh, he came out and was like, "I proudly beat my kids. Like you should beat your
Oh,
kids."
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like, "Wow, what a cool parenting tip you have, Brendan Allen." I hope you. And also, he was losing against Chris Curtis until Curtis like blew out 7 ligaments in his knee or whatever. Um, Brendan Allen's just not very good. He's just not good, and he keeps winning. When he's on like a 7-fight win streak or some shit,
I
like
know.
he just keeps
And 5 of
winning.
those wins have been by rear naked choke.
Yeah. So I'm like, get him out of here. So I think Imavov probably. He's big, he's powerful, right? Brendan Allen doesn't really have takedowns. Brendan Allen relies on like people at middleweight having donkey brains and running into guillotines or like shooting sloppy shots, and then he can scramble decently. But he doesn't really have any way to get it to the ground himself unless he
Mhm.
rocks the other guy. And it seems like if Nasruddin Imavov wasn't dropped by Jared Cannonier and was able to finish him, he probably should be able to do that with Brendan Allen. It did take him quite a few rounds to finish Jared Cannonier, so I like hopeful Imavov. Uh, I think he'll probably just take it to a decision.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
God, it could be a. Where is the main car or the main fight? I can't imagine it being bad. I could see this one being terrible.
Mm.
I mean, but it's middleweight, right? It could always be terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, fuck middleweight. I just I can't like not watch it. Ah. Anyway, all right. Then we've got a bunch of France versus other countries fights. Let's talk about Matt Frivola versus Faris Ziem. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Matt Frivola. The dude knocks people out a ton. That's all he
Okay.
really has. He's from I think Long Island or Jersey, and he's like, I have a 1-2, and he does that kind of Conor McGregor, like that really leans and like puts all of his weight on his front foot so he can get a full extension on
Mm.
his punches. But he really overextends. Faris Ziem looks like a dude who likes to take people down and submit them or go to decision. I think probably Matt Frivola will be able to knock him out,
All
and so
right.
I'm interested to see that. And then, yeah, like I said, Ian Kutalaba, a guy with some of the worst brain thinking on earth at light heavyweight. He's an absolute madman and usually gasses out after one round after being a silly goof. And he's fighting Ivan Urslan, which like my dyslexia made me read Allen Iverson. Um, some no name from Croatia. So there you go.
All right. Well,
So
that is this weekend's card.
yeah, that's that. God, yeah. Is there anything? No, I don't know any of these other people.
Yeah.
I mean, Eileen Perez, she's the lady that twerks after she wins.
Okay.
So there's her. Ludovic Klein was like an okay lightweight, but like never really made it. He is a minus 800 favorite over
Oh,
Roosevelt Roberts.
yikes.
Jesus, Roosevelt Roberts? What happened to you? What did you do? Who did you offend? Who did he last fight? I've heard this name, Roosevelt Roberts. Is he the guy that lost to Patty Pimblett? Oh
No,
no,
he
Mateusz
Mateusz Rebecki.
Rebecki. That's right. Yeah. Oh, Mateusz Rebecki's fighting soon too. I like that dude. That guy's good. Yeah. All right. So it's like all right. It's a whatever card. There's 2 fights. Then there's Matt Frivola and Iwan Kutalaba. They'll both probably win. Yeah. And then I guess we can watch Roosevelt Roberts be like summarily executed by Ludovic Klein if the odds are anything to go by. Yeah. And that's that. The last fight card of September. looking back on all the fights we watched in September or didn't watch, give me a grade on this month.
This month of fights. Oh boy. Okay.
So to remind you, there was the Sphere.
There was.
There was the Anthony Joshua fight. And then, dude, fuck me. I can't remember anything else that happened this month. Let's
Well,
see.
there's Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady, apparently.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it?
That was it for this month. Yeah, what the hell?
Oh, dude, what a drought. What a terrible month. Yeah, fuck. All right. I guess that's that.
Well, yeah, well, there's your grade right there. Shit.
Yeah. Oh, I guess there was the Canelo Berlanga fight.
Oh, great. Yeah.
There was fought
Who?
Inoue.
Oh, yeah, he did fight.
Dude, this month has felt like a year, but also a day simultaneously in the combat sports world.
Yeah, what the
It was
hell?
like all this build up to the Sphere, and then the Sphere was like a Smirnoff Ice, and you drink it, and then you have a pounding headache in the morning, and you're like, that wasn't that fun. I shouldn't have had that. Yeah. October should be better though.
October will definitely be better. Oh, who knows? Maybe this fight night will save September. Maybe this card of Hanato Moicano and Benoit Saint Denis will just make September worth it.
Okay, so tell me your dream scenario. Like, what happens?
Dude, I have no fucking idea.
that makes it like. I think. Okay, so let's imagine Benoit Saint Denis comes out. He like knocks Hanato Moicano out fully in the first round, and then the bell goes off, and like he wakes up, right? Kind of in the way that Michael Bisping was saved by the bell against Anderson Silva.
Mhm.
And then Hanato Moicano wakes up, and then he comes back just like he did against Jalen Turner and submits Benoit Saint Denis. And then he gets on the mic and he tells everyone that Bored Ape NFTs are coming back, and that's where you should invest all of your money. Would that save it for you?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
Although, if that happens, exactly that, you'll win just this card. I will just say you win. You win. You get to choose our next topic for our retrospective.
All right. Yeah, I like. Again, we're hitting this period where it's just there's just a lot of not good UFC, which is I have to pull that back because like coming up in October we have I think 3 of the best MMA fights that you can. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards and 3 of the best fights you can put together in MMA right now.
Okay. Well, what are those fights that? And we won't talk about them in detail, but what do you feel?
Well, we know
this. What is it?
It's Ilya Topuria, Max Holloway. That's the number 1. That's the best fight you could do.
Okay. Yeah.
Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev.
Okay.
That's like absolutely the one of the best fights you could do. And then what was the other one that I was looking at where I was like, oh, that's a fucking good one.
You're forgetting what we've been talking about. Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree.
Oh, but that's not one of the best. Like, come now.
I mean, it's just excessive violence for maybe 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, that's true. No, Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Royval. Like,
that's gonna be great. That's gonna be good
because I think Taira is gonna be able to take it. It is the stiffest test, and it's like him, and then have him fight Pantoja, right? Like, actually have this young Japanese fighter kind of shoot up through the ranks in the appropriate like leveling up order to prepare him for the boss at the end of the video game in Pantoja. Those are I think the 3 best. I mean, now that Merab has won, Merab versus Umar Nurmagomedov is really good. But for like what you could make on this timetable, I think. And Ilya Max, right? Whoever wins that is fighter of the year. I don't give a shit what Alex Pereira does, or Khalil Roundtree, right? Like it's Max or Ilya by a mile.
I think we're gonna have to talk about that after this month, though, to see like what happens. I mean, they're both really. The more and more I think about this Max and Ilya Topuria fight, the more and more I go back and forth a lot about it, and I'm excited for it. I'm very, very excited for it.
Yeah, it should be great. It's gonna be both really bittersweet to watch Max Holloway get put out by Ilya Taporia. It's but then Ilya's gonna have beaten both Volkanovski and Max Holloway by finish, and like, goddamn, if that isn't super impressive. But if Max wins, he'll have beaten Justin Gaethje and Ilya Taporia, which, like, goddamn, if that's not impressive.
Yeah.
But dude, I feel it deep in my plums. It's Ilya. Man, I think Ilya's gonna. Anyway, we'll talk about it more. We'll talk about it more next time. Let's not get into this now. We've got a whole nother episode that we got to talk about. And then we're going to eventually have to break down, which I don't even know how you break down Khalil Roundtree and Alex Pereira. Like, I don't even, like, all I can think of doing is just like P. Diddy breaking out the baby oil and just being like, all right, I'm ready. No. Come on now. Anyway, all right. Well, this has been... this has been Two Fight Fans. I'm one fight fan, Stuart.
I am the other, Colin.
And watch the fight this weekend.
Damn it.
Join us on Friday. We're going to actually preview all of October because not only are there 2 UFC pay-per-view cards and 2 Fight Night cards, but there was also a PFL card that has some interest. And like I alluded to, Better BF versus Bivol. This is the fight. Listen to me. All of you who are like, I don't care about boxing. Listen to me. This is the fight you have to watch. And it all happens in October. Get your candy for Halloween that you're not going to give to trick-or-treaters, secret run you just have for yourself, and listen in as we talk about this. All right, everybody. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.